Good morning and welcome to a new week. We have a new week and a bunch of new road construction projects to contend with this week. Please slow down. Please stay off your phone and drive carefully. We're told starting Wednesday, exit 17, the off-ramp up in Colchester, is going to be closed starting at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. until 6 a.m. So keep that in mind. Again, it is starting up Wednesday. I will remind you, we're looking at the news over the weekend. Other than the Swanton shooting, which everybody is talking about this morning. Yeah. Another weekend, another shooting here in Vermont. We have the Moncton crash that is picking up some steam this morning. Other than that, it was, dare I say, an uneventful weekend news-wise. I know there were a lot of motorcyclists that were out. And the Revolution Ride, it was just a lot of bikers that were out, and it was just fantastic. Yesterday, I don't know if you were like me or not, but I was just, Sherilyn and Lily and I were just trying to stay warm, man. It's like if the wind would stop whipping for more than 5 minutes, we'd just start getting warm, and then the wind would pick up again. It was chilly yesterday. Really chilly. But happy Mother's Day to all of the moms, and I hope you had a fantastic weekend, no matter what you were doing. I know it was interesting weather-wise. It's some pretty good rain on Saturday, but things drying up yesterday, which was nice. We have a sunny start to the day and the work week this morning, and we're going to rebound nicely. 75 degrees later today, which is just so nice. I love that. Sunny and 75. Didn't that just rings? So nice to say that. Tonight, some clouds down around 47. I think it was, Sherilyn was telling me there was a frost warning in some parts this morning across Vermont. I think mostly in the valleys, but we're looking at some clouds tomorrow and Tuesday, highs around 75, nice temperature, and then Wednesday, some sunshine and some clouds both, but 77. And then I'm hearing rumors that we're supposed to be dropping back into the upper 50s. So after that, anyway. Birthdays today. I think we have a couple of them, unless they've slipped by me this morning. Yes, right here. They have slipped by me. There were a couple of names that were jumping out at me, too. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Seth Garish on the birthday list today. You know Seth. Give him a shout-out today on Facebook if you can. John Sell, also. Dad of Christian. Husband of Wendy, and such a great guy. Happy birthday, John Sell. Let's see. Jay Zampieri, Cheyenne Chase, Sherry Chase, Ashley Russell on the birthday list today on this May 12th. Keenan Warner. Happy birthday, Keenan. Rusty Surprise. And I think there was one more here. Josh Ashley. There he is. Happy birthday, everybody. Red Sox get a 3-1 win over Kansas City. They're going to start up a series with Detroit tonight. Yankees 12-2 win over the Athletics. A 9:40 first pitch with the Mariners tonight if you're staying up late. And the Celtics and the Knicks, Game 4. So we got some activity sports-wise. Not a whole lot. I hope you're off to a good start, no matter who you are, no matter where you are this morning. A very good day and a good week to you. This morning, I have a lady who I have known longer than I thought I did. Norma, welcome to Aired Out. It is such a pleasure to have you in here. Good morning.
Morning.
I met you sometime in the 90s. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Tell us about you, because you're a familiar lady, especially in Northfield, but especially around central Vermont and the Barrie area. We see you often. I have seen you often. And you have walked past the studio here a million times.
Yep.
And there's been a couple of times where I've run out and said hi to you, but I'm so glad that you're finally sitting down with me here in our studio. We're going to talk about your life, which is pretty hard. You've had quite a story. Quite a story.
I've had quite a hard life.
You have. And you know, we on Wednesday, the middle of the week, we like to dive headfirst into the message of hope and resiliency. And you are starting out the week with exclamation points on those subjects. Are you not? I mean,
Yes.
you really are one tough lady. You talk about real, you talk about raw. This is it right here. Where'd you grow up?
Northfield.
In Northfield. Okay. How old are you now?
I'm 62.
Okay. 62. So I've known you for between 20 and 30 years, something like that. It's crazy. It's amazing. When people see you, they know there's something about that lady. She's got a story. You have a walker that is, unlike other walkers, it is a standing walker.
It's a up walker.
It's an up walker. Okay.
They make them to your height and weight.
Okay. And that's how you get around.
Yep.
You've been getting around with this walker for a long time.
I've had a lot of different walkers.
Okay. So, you know, I just saw you, and I've seen you more than you know I'm seeing you. But I just saw you getting off a bus not too long ago, public transportation. And
Not today.
not today, but within the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
And I said, man, it is high time that I get Norma on the air. What happened? Why do you have a walker?
My balance is shot.
Okay. Is that it? That's really, we're just scratching the surface here. What happened? There was an accident.
Yeah, in 2000, I lived in Northfield Falls Trailer Park, and I was hit by a car in my dooryard.
Okay. 25 years ago.
Yep.
What happened on that day?
Respite worker drove in my yard and ran me over. She was a Vermont State respite worker.
Okay. Was it a situation where, I mean, were they intoxicated? Were they driving too fast?
Nope, she drove in my yard and drove right on top of my right foot. Compacted me between her vehicle and mine. And
Okay.
stayed on top of me.
And what happened after that?
She got out of her vehicle, her vehicle was still on top of my foot and got out of her car and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Well, I probably would be, being not knowing because I don't know what to think of it." She got out of her car and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "I probably would be. Get off my foot."
Okay.
My husband came home about 3 o'clock. Happened around 3 o'clock. And he had to put me in the back of my Eagle station wagon and took off my shoe, and my foot went.
Okay.
And I ended up driving like that and walking like that for over 4 months.
Did you call? Did someone come and help you? Did they?
I called the ambulance.
Okay. What about your neighbors? Did they come running to help you?
Well, I had all kinds of people in my driveway, and they were all for her.
Was she injured at all?
Nope.
Okay.
She had her 2 little kids with her.
Okay.
Traumatized my kids. My oldest one, Ashley, got in the back seat of her van, calming her 2 kids down.
Ambulance comes. What do they do?
The ambulance, I called the ambulance, and they came, and they had to wrap up my right leg and put me into the ambulance.
All right.
Took me to a hospital.
Did you have surgery?
Nope.
Okay. Even though your foot was pretty smashed up, no surgery.
Nope.
Okay.
They didn't find anything wrong with it. They brought me to the hospital and didn't find anything wrong with it. I said, "Well, I just been run over."
Okay. What about your other leg?
Nope, my other leg was fine.
Okay.
I was compacted up to my hips. So I had bursitis in them.
So then what happened?
That was it. Took me to the hospital and sent me home.
And this was in 2000.
2000, yep.
Okay.
September 27th.
Was there a police report? Was there a lawsuit? Did you get
No, there was no lawsuit.
Okay. Did you get a lawyer?
Yeah, I had a lawyer.
Okay.
He was out of Montpelier.
Okay. And how'd that work? What did they do? What did they say?
I went to his office a couple times, showed him my foot, and he brought me to a different lawyer down here in Barrie, up over the movie theater.
Yeah.
And the lawyer said I was the biggest fraud he ever saw.
Huh. That can't be the end of the story.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, it's that this is seems like there should have been a whole lot more going on here. A lot more representation.
Nope.
Okay, so you're walking around as a injured person that has not been represented. There was no recourse here.
There was no, they didn't get in touch with me or anything after that. It just ended.
Okay. I'm not sure that that I can really grasp that. I'm not sure I understand how something like this could fall through the cracks.
I don't either.
Did you get another lawyer? Did you reach out to any state resources? Vermont Bar Association?
I don't know how to go about all that.
Okay. So 1995 or mid 90s, life was kind of going well for you. You got married, right?
Yeah. Got married, had 2 children.
Okay. Then what happened?
Lived in Tunbridge at the time. Oh, I was living at Dogwood Glen, and a friend of ours got us together in Randolph. And we got married in 95. I had my children first. Yeah. They were born in 90 to 91.
Things were going well?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a Northfield girl. This is where you're from. This is where your roots are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wall Street and King Street.
Okay. Is that where you were born?
I was born here in Barrie.
Okay. How was your childhood? You have a mom and dad?
I grew up with no mother. My mother shot herself at 31 years old. I was only 5.5 months old, so I didn't know her.
What about dad?
My dad just died 19 years ago. I was with him.
Where? Right here in Barrie?
No, he died at the nursing home in Northfield.
Okay. Were you close with him?
Yeah. We worked every day. He would come home, go to the Legion. When I didn't want to eat at home, I would go find my dad, ask him for some money to get something to eat, because I was lambasted and force-fed in the corner to eat.
Where?
When I lived in Northfield.
Why was that?
Because I'm a slow eater. And my uncle wouldn't sit to a table while I was eating because I would still be there when he was done.
Okay. So, good relationship with your dad.
Yeah.
He treated you well.
I hardly ever saw him.
Okay.
He was a working guy.
Okay. Do you have any other family or?
I have a brother that committed suicide because down here in Barrie at the old country cousins, there was 5 guys that gained up and beat the living daylights out of him, paralyzed him, brain damaged him. He ended up in Burlington Hospital for a month and a half. Couldn't feed himself, couldn't walk.
I remember that. I didn't know that was your brother.
Yeah. 1982, February 23rd, he took his life. That
Okay.
was my brother Joe.
Any sisters?
Yeah, I have a sister and I have a half-sister.
Where do they live? Are they still alive?
My sister lives down here in Barrie and she has nothing to do with me.
Okay.
I don't know where my half-sister lives.
Okay.
And I have an Irish twin in Burlington.
Okay. You ever met the twin?
I have an Irish twin, yeah.
Okay. An Irish twin. Okay.
Yeah. We're 11.5 months apart.
Okay. So what happened? So the marriage was going well after you had your 2 kids?
Yeah, and then he ended up cheating on me.
Okay. So what happened?
I got divorced.
Then you did what?
And then I've been on my own ever since.
Okay.
I raised my 2 girls.
You raised your 2 girls. Okay. And what did you get, like an apartment, or did you buy a home? What did you do after this
No, I
divorce?
lived in the Falls Trailer Park, and Rachel Perkins from Washington County Mental Health down here in Barrie had my youngest one taken away from me. And she lived with Dee Demas in Northfield, up on the Bear Farm Road. And after a while, Ellie wrote the state a letter saying she wanted to come back to her mother. So they let her. And then she went to live with Dee after when she was going to school in Randolph, special ed, the same class I went to, only they changed the name. And then we lived in the Falls Trailer Park. She took a knife out of the drawer because Ashley was playing with a dog and told her if she didn't quit playing with the dog, she was going to kill herself. And I had to have the cops come down, and Ashley was with a guy on the fire department from Morrisville, and he tried to take the knife away from her. She wouldn't give it to him. So the cops are called. Cops tried to take the knife away. We ended up in the police station. Her father ended up taking her. And whole rigmarole.
What a mess.
Yeah.
And then, so late 90s, you moved to Northfield Falls, and then this horrific crash takes place in 2000, where
Yeah.
you get hit by this car.
1999, we moved in the Falls Trailer Park.
Okay.
We moved from Randolph to Hardwick.
All right. So you're dealing with injuries after the 2000 car accident. Fast forward to 2004, you get cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a 2-time cancer survivor.
I think it might be fair to say, Norma, that you are maybe a survivor of just a little bit more than cancer 2 times.
Yeah, we had a major head-on collision in 2008. I was going from Woodbury into Hardwick, and this woman from Hardwick took me out on my side of the road, and they said if she had hit me any harder, she would have ejected my oldest daughter right through the back windshield of my brand new van I had.
So, yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my head around
It's complicated.
a lot of this here, which I wasn't. And here I am. I've known you for somewhere between 20 and 30 years, and some of this I'm hearing for the first time right now. So, what was the cancer in 2004? And
I had breast cancer.
okay, how was that dealt with?
Not very good when they sent me to Dartmouth.
Okay,
I won't go back there.
what did they do?
I found the cancer myself. I went to Dr. Mason, that was up here at the hospital, and he did biopsies and stuff and told me that I had it. And then they sent me to Dartmouth so they could treat me for it, and at the end of it, they didn't want me to go for any more radiation. So they sent me to this person that didn't listen to me about my records because I'm highly allergic to IVP kidney dye. And I told the person that. And she said, well, we're going to put a balloon in so You won't have to go for any more radiation. And I said, you can't use IVP kidney dye. I'm highly allergic to it. Well, when did you become allergic to it? I said, 80 between. It was in the 80s. And she said, well, I'm going to do it anyways. In front of my children, she could have killed me. And I went home that night. It was on a Friday night on a weekend. And the whole thing popped. It broke. And it wasn't good because I ended up sick. And my husband wouldn't take me back to Dartmouth. And just went on from there.
Did you have a mastectomy?
No.
Okay.
No.
Did they get a hold of this, though? I mean, did they?
They don't know what that lady did to me.
Okay. Wow.
And then 23, I had it again. On the other side.
20. What do you mean 23?
2023.
Just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now I'm on a pill for 5 years to keep it from coming back.
2009. You got some back problems.
Yeah.
What happened?
I ended up going to Dartmouth for major back surgery.
What was that?
They didn't even want to do it. The doctor didn't even want to do it.
Okay.
But he did.
What did he do?
It was my vertebrae and stuff in my back. My disc.
Okay. Did you have like a fusion?
I had particles in my back.
Okay.
Screws and rods. And then
Wow, Norma.
2017, I had another back surgery. Major back surgery. I died in it. And then they brought me back.
Then your heart gives out.
Yeah, I went into AFib in 2019, my elbow surgery.
Okay.
I had to have both elbows operated on because I had neuropathy.
Didn't you have a heart attack in like 2010?
Yeah. I had a heart attack in 2010, ended up in the hospital a couple days. Then when the nurse went to take the IV out, she forgot about it, and my hand ended up bleeding all over the place. I said, well, you better fix this. This isn't right. And they knew that something was wrong with my heart. They didn't tell me it was, I don't know what year it was. I've had all kinds of stuff going on. And my doctor was supposed to get me into a heart doctor after I had my elbow surgery, and he didn't because he was tending to it. And then Christmas Eve this past year, I ended up passing out at church and couldn't find out it was because of my heart. So they brought me to the hospital, and the hospital just said, well, she's had this problem before. I've never passed out in church before. I've had trouble, pain while I was in church, but this time I actually passed out. And I didn't know it was because of my heart.
Speaking of church, and I can't help but notice the cross on your hat.
I love to go to church. I've been going to church since I was 8, 9 years old. I would go across town and get my best friend, and she'd go to church with me in Northfield. I've been going to church a lot. I used to go to the Little White Church of South Northfield, and then they closed, and I used to go to Faith Community, but I don't anymore. I go to Enough Ministry. I'm a member of it. That's where I was baptized.
When were you baptized?
June 5th of this year will be 3 years. My daughter Ashley and I, Pastor Dan and his wife Kathy, went to Morrisville, picked up my daughter, brought her up so she could get baptized with me.
Which daughter is that?
My oldest one.
Your oldest one?
Yeah.
Who lives up in?
Morrisville.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just be, I'm just going to be really, I guess for lack of a better term, blunt with you. It seems like folks who have been dealt the cards that you've been dealt with. You were run over by a car. You've had cancer twice, back surgery twice, heart attacks, multiple operations. Both of your feet, you have, what are these braces on your feet called here? You have special boots. Special shoes with boots with metal braces coming up both sides, almost up to your knees. Yeah.
They do go up to my knees. I call them shoes.
And on the other leg as well?
Yep. You can't wear just one. You have to have both of them.
Okay. And this keeps your feet. What does this do? How does this help you?
The shoes are, they're orthopedic. They're special shoes. I can't wear regular shoes anymore.
Okay. And what about the other?
The other one's the same.
Okay.
Due to getting run over and crushed.
From getting run over by a car.
Yep.
And that was 25 years ago.
Yep. So September 27th will be 25 years. Yep.
I'm just glancing at the comments here. Billy just nailed it. Praise the Lord, glory to God. Your testimony is inspiring. How do I say this? It just seems like people who have, like I was saying, have been dealt cards like you have. Either travel onward in life, very much, and I know I might be kind of generalizing here, but I think most of my listeners might get the gist of what I'm saying. Would go on in life either very much believing in God and having faith in God, or not. You do.
I have 5 grandkids to live for.
Wow. And they love you.
I don't get to see them.
Okay. Why do you not get to see them? What's the deal with that?
But DCF took them away. Took my first daughter's 4 kids away, and then they turned around and took my second daughter's child away.
You still find faith.
I believe in God highly.
Where are you on the hope scale? Because a lot of us, just going to be straight with you here, a lot of us who don't have health issues, we don't have whatever it may be, financial problems, we haven't been dealt some pretty hard knocks. Lack hope.
Sometimes I don't have any hope. Sometimes I just want to give up. I don't know how to go on sometimes.
For the most part, though, do you feel on any given day that you begin with hope?
Yeah. Sometimes I have a lot of hope. Sometimes I just don't want to go.
What are you hoping for? Just to survive another day, or are you hoping to be to have a better relationship with your daughters, or your or to see your grandkids? What is the hope? What's the root of it for you?
I hope to be able to see my granddaughters, my grandsons graduate from high school.
There it is. How close are we to that? Do you know?
I have a 15-year-old, my oldest granddaughter, which is blind and deaf. So right now she's being homeschooled, but she wants to go back to school to have the ability to talk to people, and
Sure.
so she's going to go back to school. I have a 14-year-old that's in high school. Socialization is what it is. My oldest one wants to go back for socialization. And she knows that Hazen Union doesn't have the special ed that they should have to be able to help my 2 granddaughters that are blind and deaf. We have the chromosome 17 deletion syndrome, and that causes a lot of our disabilities. And it has caused them to be blind and deaf. My oldest one, which is Lila, and then my youngest one is Alyssa. Alyssa's 13, and they all go to, well, Lila and Alyssa don't go to school because they're homeschooled, because they're both blind and deaf. But, because of the chromosome.
I have seen you, Norma, over at the soup kitchen down in the basement at Enough Ministries. You're there 2 days a week?
3 days a week.
3 days a week. Upstairs is the sanctuary where you attend church.
4 days a week.
Right. You're there 4 days a week. Pastor Josh Pastor Dan, Patty,
Pastor Chuck,
Chuck.
which we're starting another church.
These people have really become your family.
Yep.
They love you. They take you in no matter what the hell's going on. Are you receiving other... What kind of services are you getting? Are you over at Capstone? You have an apartment here in Barrie.
Yep.
Do you live alone?
Yep.
Okay. Are you receiving any other services? What kind of help are you getting? You got public transportation, but what else?
I get Medicaid, Medicare, the Advantage insurance.
Okay.
I get food stamps.
Anything else?
Nope.
Have you ever thought about panhandling? Have you ever thought about just being out on the street with a cup to collect change? Do you ask for money?
No,
Why?
because that's not the way I was brought up. Not the way I was raised. I was told if you don't have it, you don't get it. You don't have the money, you don't buy it.
I know that this can be a slippery slope, but I'll just, and I'll say this again. I have a pretty good feeling that the majority of my listeners understand my gist. And I don't always have a great way with words. I know what it is that I'm thinking. I'm trying to verbalize it here. But there are folks in very, very, very different situations and scenarios than you that are panhandling, that ask for money. And maybe some of that is justified, and maybe it's not. And it doesn't matter if it's Barrie, Montpelier, Burlington. It just makes me think. It makes me think. This kind of subject matter can rent space in my head when I see someone who doesn't have, and there's been a few that I've known personally that don't have anywhere near the story that you have had. But they're asking and receiving a lot of financial help. When I meet someone like you who has really been dealt some bad cards, and you are still maintaining self-sufficiency, self-reliance, that's remarkable to me. You are You're a very resilient woman. You're very tough.
Been through hell and still going through it. But you got to live it.
You don't have to live it, though. You don't have to. But you are. That says an awful lot about a lot more than just your character. There's something that's primal within you that makes you want to keep fighting and keep pushing on.
I have to keep going. I have a daughter that's going to be going to college. Got accepted to college.
When is that happening?
The guy that screwed her up on it is going to work with her. And hopefully she will be able to get in before September. She's got a lot of grants.
God bless her.
She just turned 35. And she wants to be an LNA.
Just got a comment here. Wow, I thought my trials and tribulations were hard in my life. Makes me see my life hasn't been as hard as I thought. You are a strong woman. Your testimony and your strength, faith, courage, and knowing Jesus is walking with you. You have a divine purpose. Trust in him. And I cannot speak more highly of enough ministries. I recently started going after 25 plus years, and I feel accepted in a very warm family feeling. I invite anyone who wants to experience peace, and Jesus is your Savior. I am so proud to call Enough Ministries a sponsor, a presenting sponsor of this podcast. And listen, I am well aware that there are mornings and topics of discussion and banter and whatnot on these microphones that maybe make Pastor Josh and Pastor Chuck and Pastor Dan kind of scratch their heads a little. But no matter what comes out of my mouth or what comes out of the mouth of my guests, those guys and Pat are my friends, and I love and support them very much, even though we get pretty wild here on times on the air and get very inappropriate. But this is what Aired Out is. I mean, honestly, any given day you tune in, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to hear. We're all over the road. We have conversations like this, and on Thursday, when G comes in here, we're going to throw some gas on the fire, and we're going to have plenty of laughs.
You used to be all over the road when you were Froggy, too.
I remember well. God, that was a long time ago.
Yep.
A long time ago.
I've won coffee cups off your program.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Jeez, Norma. Man, it's
I have and Ashley has.
You're an inspiration. You still smile. You still laugh. You joke around with me when I see you. And I enjoy sitting next to you and sharing a meal with you every now and then over there.
That's what church is about. I've been with them for 10 years or more.
Do you think that that's what's partly responsible for what's keeping you going?
Yep.
Do you pray every night?
No.
Come on, Be honest, Norma.
I am, no. I am being honest, no.
Yeah.
John 3:16 is my favorite verse, though. I've known that forever.
Tell me what it is.
John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. I learned that when I was little.
Yeah. My hope is that we can all learn something from episodes like this on Aired Out. That we can all learn something from you, Norma. You never know who you're looking at. You never know who you're looking at.
Nope.
We all have a story. And for the last hour, we've just been scratching the surface of yours. There, you got some really deep stuff that's going on. Are you getting any mental health help in any capacity?
I've been in mental health for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
After my brother deceased himself, my aunt took me over there in Montpelier and dropped me off.
Okay. Are you still getting any kind of help?
When I need them, I call them.
Okay. I think when people see you walking the streets of Barrie with this up walker, this special walker which holds your body upright, I think people are going to be reminded of this episode this morning and who Norma is. There's a lot to your story. Man, it's like we could peel it back all day. But you still are, you're still going. And it's remarkable to me. Frankly, this one will resonate with me for quite a while. At the very least, the rest of the day, if not the rest of this week. And I hope it does the same for others. To be reminded of what it means to be resilient, what it means to have hope.
I also have 4 vertebrae and discs sticking out of the back of my neck from the 2008 head-on collision.
Wow.
I had a broken fractured bone in my knee that I still have, and there was a doctor down in Morrisville, and he told the orthopedic that if she got me out of the hospital in 2 days, he'd buy her a soda. He got fired. Because I called the main person and talked to them. Told them what he said.
Will you come in here again sometime?
Yep.
And maybe give us an update on how you're doing.
Yep. I don't have to go back to the heart doctor for 6 months, so.
Okay. So this summer, you and I.
Yep.
You'll get back in here.
Yep.
You're so self-dependent, independent.
That's why I don't stand out on the street with a cup or anything, because I do it myself. I do it myself or I don't do it.
I'll tell everyone this morning. I wasn't going to say this, but I'll say it now. I offered to pick you up and give you a ride in here this morning, and your comment to me was, "What the hell do I need a ride for? I'm going to walk."
I said that?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You said, "I'll ride or I'll walk," and you did.
I walk all the time.
I know you did.
I'm a constant walker.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get anywhere if I don't.
Wow. And you're going to walk home now.
Yep.
Jeez.
I walk all over everywhere.
Thank you for coming in here, Norma.
Welcome.
Thank you for being part of our community, for sharing your story, for being a great part of the church.
Stories.
Yeah, stories. Thank you, love.
You're welcome.